Okay, everybody. So hopefully you read those sections that I was telling you about. So let's see here. Now, joining us today, as you've all heard about, okay, is going to be Deborah Silverman. Welcome. It's such an honor and pleasure to have you here in Gemini Clevis. And Melody Clutter. And we had the Resemblance Prayer, as you know, a couple days ago on the 27th in the afternoon after lunch. So I think looking at them, listening to them, I think that you can probably see the resemblance or hear the resemblance. Personality, face picture as well. Let's see what else. Personality, interests, careers, astrology, as you all know it, so much more. So they'll be here. Melody is going to be here for this one, maybe another one. But she'll be going, and she lives locally here in town, just across the street, so she can go back home or come here very easily when she needs to. Joining us for the concerts, but not going to be here always. But Deborah hopefully will be joining us for most every one of our Gemini meetings. And so I really don't know what you have in mind to teach and talk about to them. But after I get done, then Deborah will be taking over and doing her thing. Okay, because she has some. I'm like, didn't you say that you had some activities and like reading type stuff in mind? Okay, wonderful. So, that's what she'll be doing. And then tomorrow, as a reminder, I just need to think of some. Like, I need to look up some Gemini communicative activities. Like some like activities like you're communicating and using the Gemini energy, or like thinking or playing games or something like that. And tomorrow we're going to be having the second skit. So the skits are going to be I think mostly every Saturday or every couple of Saturdays. So we're going to have the next one tomorrow, and that'll be off camera. But so that's going to be the plan. So, while you were outside, you were reading. Okay, you were reading about all the different sections of this book. Okay, and you were reading the remainder of the introduction, basically. So, we've already read about Gemini out there. So, let's see. So, we're going to go in order. So, I'm going to begin, and then you all, I'm going to call on one of you, and then you're going to tell me what this section basically outlines. Okay, we're going to maybe, discuss it if we need to. So, for the Gemini as a child, it's talking about, the child like Gemini. So, so how the Gemini can talk. It says crow walk, and then, because it's basically getting into Gemini children. Very, very quick to pick up. They are very talkative, communicative, and idealistic. And so Aries, Gemini is the ill version of Aries, because it is known as a childlike sign. And they have a lot of ideas. They don't commit. They go out of the box, and they have so many things around at one time because they need the stimulation. They need the variety. So throughout the whole childhood, so from being a baby to being a adolescent, it says that Geminis are definitely a handful. That they're definitely a very, very huge responsibility. So, in the section, it's going to talk about what will be found in the section. There'll be suggestions on, and also maybe say it in your own words when you talk about these. Affirmation, as it said, being affirmative, like groundedness, practical clarity, all those types of things, and discipline for a Gemini child, understanding, boundaries, the good and the bad, what to ask that's good, what to ask that's bad, to research, that's good and bad, and following through, because, Geminis go all over the place. They need to follow through. They need to start and stick to something. And you can actually sit down if you want to. So, now I'm going to call on somebody else to do Gemini as an adult. I'm going to have Pipson do Gemini as an adult. Okay, wonderful. So, so that was very, very clear and to the point. So, yes. So it talked about, being an authority, because the adults to the children are being an authority, really in charge, authoritative, and learning how to be realistic, how to be kind and right. It's also called being moral. So then, the cautions to those things, and because, as you know, Gemini is split personality, because one of them wants to go one way, another way, wants to do it this way, another that way, do one thing and another thing. It's crazy. It's like a butterfly, just all, just flighting, and all AOE. I'm very, very social, all over the place. And Sagittarius is just rested. That's Gemini, but it's fire. But so that's Gemini's complement. So opposite today, on November 29th, we would be in Sagittarius season. So now, I'm gonna call on Amanda to do as a parent, Gemini as a parent. Okay, so you can talk about that. Okay, so Gemini as a parent. Now, so very, very good. It's very, very clear that Gemini is a caregiver, a guardian, mom or dad, who cares in that way for the children, but also as a teacher, not only the career, but also the children. and they parent, and they're wise, and acting in the role of a role model and a parent, and that kind of thing. Someone who they could look up to because of their intellect, because of how well they explain things that can really educate them in a way, and that can really let's see what else. So yeah, talking, intellectual, and also making a very, very fun and very entertaining somebody as well. As you know, who is very, very social. So it says, intellect, structure, spontaneity. Geminis are spontaneous. They don't like scripted. They don't like, they're not a big fan of routine and structure. They just do things spontaneously, out of the box, just kind of improvising, like just on the fly. All of a sudden, Geminis are really on the fly. So as they're going, and so they teach about relationships, building family relationships. So that's what it also talks about there. Wonderful. So now we're going to do, and here's the thing. Let's see here. Now, Now, here's the thing. We're not going to get to all of these chapters. But this is just the overview. So if you didn't want to read all of these, it's basically talking about what they're going to be covering. And the other chapters, and you remember, these are your copies, so you can read those things on your own time. We're going to be reading a set number of sections from this, but not all of them. So, but we're going to just overview all of them. And I'm spontaneous also. I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to kind of see it as we go. So, the next person is going to do Gemini, Gemini in Love, which I'm going to call on, let's see, I'm going to do Chloe. Okay, so, very, very good. So, Gemini in Love. So, not committed. They're not a fan. They like to be free and independent and individualistic. And they're not a big fan of committing because, it's kind of the same old thing. But the mutable signs, I do have to say, by their bonding or their compatible element, signs from those other elements that are compatible with the mutable signs are very, very, and can get along very, very well. Because all these mutable signs need to have a cardinal or fixed to really be the one to lead, to be in control of the relationship. So that's the thing about the mutable signs. So, Gemini, Heart, and Love. So, let's see. So it talked about the romantic on the the loving, and the as it said, sexual organ, which was the mind. Let's see. And also, here's another really, really important point. That any sign is compatible with every sign in some way or another. Remotely compatible or incredibly compatible. It might be one way where there's so much in common. So, two Tauruses, for example, or Taurus and a Cancer. Or they might be very, very different and they want to learn from what the other lacks. And they want to, something different from them. They want something different. They want a new, new wonders, new gifts, new personality, way of doing things, way of living, an opportunity for them to evolve, to change, grow, and expand. So, definitely don't be close-minded about two signs that may not look like they're compatible, but in some way or another they will be. And it also has to do also on the other placements in the chart, or how much of one element or several different elements that they have. That you might be an earth person tied to an air person, and that air person probably has maybe a lot of water, or maybe a lot of earth, for example, in like the the other placements. So that has a lot to do with that as well. And also going with family influence, family histories, and a couple other things as well. But so that was wonderful. So I'm gonna call on Christy to do let's see. Yes, this is not that Christy. It's with a K at the beginning. So to do Gemini at work. You're going to be doing Gemini at work. Okay. Gemini at work. So in a profession. So an industry or profession. So there's certain things that need to be met. There's certain expectations of how that industry or profession is going to be. So one that is not boring and same old thing over and over again, different from Taurus. One that is evolving, one that changes, one that like the routines and activities, whatever, change every day. One that's interesting to a Gemini, mentally stimulating, allows for connection and all of the Gemini things. Very, very intelligent for them to, be able to learn, be able to, just stimulate their minds and, study in that way. And also, the collective. So the work ethic, so the collective. Being in community, being in, again, that relationship and that connection. So, in the 5th chapter, what could be expected, which you already said, was a list of helpful professions, helpful jobs and industries, finding the niche, which I really am not entirely sure what that means, like, specific business happy places, I don't know. And ideas that can aid the indecisive Gemini on a helpful path toward merging the purpose with their profit, toward, what they love and merging with profit. Geminis are very, very, they can be indecisive. But Libras can be especially indecisive. I have a Libra moon, and I think that I can relate to it. But so wonderful. Let's see here. So communication, adventurous, as it says, jobs where there's a lot of that. And also, let's see, and a place for them to have purpose, to be of service. Again, mental stimulation and connection, but that's, really more Virgo. But there's a lot of similarities between Gemini and Virgo, because they both will be ruled by Mercury. Okay, so the person that's going to be doing in the world is going to be Chris. That's going to do on the in school category. So what do you have to say about that? Okay. So in school, it says in school. So from kindergarten. To 60 meg and in-home Wi-Fi for I don't know where this thing is going. Plus, there's no contract. Okay. Without the high price. Okay. Now, from kindergarten all the way up to college level, it says. So, Gemini stimulated, as it said, boredom. Geminis, as you said, get pissy when they're bored. This thing is to avoid boredom at all costs, all constantly, to avoid boredom. So, with all the different subjects, with all the different, activities and, books that they read and, lessons that they read, what they're curious about, what they're interested in, again, that connection and that social interaction with, not only with other peers, but also, the teacher, because they like listening. And they like listening and learning from the teacher and answering the questions that they have. And so also extracurricular, like clubs, like a book club that can engage in the connection and stimulation. Also, I think that this, what it's saying is really opening up doorways for those who think that it is, that school is, boring and tough and, not fun, all those kind of things. I think that can really be an inspiring, mind-opening, caring statement made in there. So it's basically kind of, a good thriller into it. So, let's see. So, again, the teaching strategies. Self-direction and multi-dimensional. So self-direction, going in the direction that they want to, learning what they're interested in, what they want to learn and study. And also, they have multiple interests. They're interested in, one thing, another thing, and, so many things. So, now we're going to get to the next chapter, which is going to be in daily life, I believe. So, the person who will be doing that is oh, jeez. Okay. So let's see here. So I'm gonna have. Let's see who else. I'm gonna have Kelly is going to do that one. Is going to do the Gemini in daily life section. So that's what they're gonna do. Okay, wonderful. So, Gemini in daily life. Okay, Okay. So, wonderful. Now, okay, that's better. So, Gemini in daily life, it says. Let's see what it says for that. We're almost done. We're almost done with this part of it. So, Gemini in my life. So, what structure, what routine, what schedule to get into? Health, exercises, wellness, and also spiritual practice, because astrology is connecting with nature, and organizational strategies. That's a very, very big one, because they're all over the place. They're scattered. It's very, very difficult to get organized. So all of these things are the lessons to a Gemini. You realize that I put the SH. That's what they need to learn. That's the maturing evolution. So let's see here. So what foods, exercise routines, days of the week are best for Gemini? Operating well, groundedly, practically, adding in their wisdom, their humor, as it says, and also on their analysis. So, plenty of stimulating activities, and it always is kind of the same way, because it likes a lot of things being on, and Aries and Gemini get along because they don't like being bored. They need the stimulation, emotionally, mentally, physically. So I'm going to go over the last one. So Gemini in the world gets into four figures, who we don't know them, who they were born under the Gemini, and expressing and channeling the Gemini energy, and in what way that they're going to be doing that, really how they impact the world. So, they're very, very different in race, money, gender, and also compatibility. But they all share things in common that are the same dealing with Gemini. And so they don't only impact Gemini, but also everybody else, every other sign. And also some places, of Gemini places. So I'm just going to read to you the remainder of what it says here. So, it's my hope that this book can help all Gemini-influenced souls look at their twin-ruled planets through a lens that clarifies, clues up, strengthens, and motivates them on their path toward discovering the truth of who they are, how they love, and what their function in the world really is. The Gemini soul understands Gemini's special mission, their function in the zodiac, and how they can apply their natural gifts and abilities to healing the world. So why they will heal, what is their purpose, and how can they impact the world, basically, with their gifts and abilities. So then it says, there is no higher art form than living a soulful life, and astrology is a tool all signs can learn from. The wisdom of the zodiac helps Gemini understand who they are, why they're here, who they're meant to love, and who they're astrologically ordained to do. Again, their purpose, their function. And when thinking of all the wonders that Gemini can work in the world, it's easy to become overwhelmed and ask yourself if you can do it all. it's important to remember that the universe gave you Gemini energy, but it's equally crucial to understand that you're meant to be successful in its expression. It would not be reasonable to assume you have Gemini gifts without the means to bring them into fruition. So together, let's get started. So that's the end of the introduction. Now, the very, very next thing, which is going to take no time at all, is I'm going to bring up the board, and I want to go over what the Gemini in my life is going to look like, and then Deborah Silverman will be taking over. We'll head back outside, and she will do what she has planned to do. So let's see. I'm going to move this over to the other side of the board here. Let's see here. Let's get rid of this. So, I don't need this anymore. Okay. Okay. So, let's see here. Yeah. 3 marker. Okay. Now, okay, that picked up really, really well in a way thing. So let's see here. I'm going to kind of rewrite this and sideways it. Let's see. Okay. So it says Gemini in my life. So Gemini in my life. Now, Gemini in my life is the name of the project. So what you all need, and I'll make a screencast activity, a video explaining all these types of things. So what you need is, first of all, needs. Well, first of all, you need a person, someone who was born a Gemini, somebody who was born a Gemini. It doesn't matter if they are a family member, if they're a sibling, if they're a parent, if they are a grandparent, aunt, uncle, cousin, a friend, a boss, a peer, how close or how distant, it does not matter. And then you need, from that, the relation